Sun glistening here in Pittsburgh, getting set for the Jets and the Steelers. And hello, friends, Jim Nantz, along with the Super Bowl legend Phil Simms, my partner. We're talking about some big headlines here. Revis is out for the Jets. You knew that before today. But Harrison and Polamalu, both scratches for the Steelers. Here 90 minutes out, declared inactive. What does that mean to this game, Phil?
Well, maybe the three best defensive players in the game, they're all out. What it does for the coaches, especially for the defensive coordinators, it changes the way you attack the opposing offense. So we'll watch it today and see how much each defense changes.
Today's game is being broadcast in Spanish. We're available using the SAP button on your television. So the Steelers won the toss and want the football. So Nick Folk is going to send it down to a rookie out of Florida. There he is, Chris Rainey. Steelers coming off a loss in the opener at Denver. Jets a win over Buffalo 48-28. And this will be a touchback, and Roethlisberger will start at his own 20. Ben Roethlisberger, he has never lost a home opener in his career. The two-time Super Bowl champion, the man who has taken the Steelers to 4 AFC title games and 3 Super Bowl appearances overall. His line is led by Pouncey. What a leader, what a performer in 2 years, 2 Pro Bowls out of Florida. And Redmond is the running back. There he is, 33. As again, Mendenhall is inactive, still trying to fully recover from that knee that was blown out at the end of last year. He's a week or two away, you have to think. On first down, with a bubble screen over to Antonio Brown, and he bounces out after a quick 7. Now, this Jets defense certainly got into the takeaway business last week against the Bills, particularly early. And Buoha is returning after sitting out with a back injury. Harris, who's been their leading tackler 4 of his first 5 years in the league. And again, without Revis, that means Wilson will step up and get the start. But it affects other guys, too, when you talk about that secondary. Happen to step up another player, like a Langster, who will be seeing today, Ellis Langster.
I think it really changes things on third down. That's the big deal for this Jets defense, Jim.
Third down, or second down and 2, and McIntyre is in at linebacker for the Jets. The Jets read this one and send them all the way back to the 20. Redmond is knocked back for an 8-yard loss.
Well, I think last week this Jets defensive front, the penetration, seeing going wide, just almost a no-no when you talk about how to get it done. The NFL, the edge is not blocked. But last week I thought the defensive front just played okay for the New York Jets. Expect them to come out and try to take advantage of an offensive line that struggles at times. Talking about the Steelers, of course.
Well, the Jets gave up 195 rush yards last week, mostly due to C.J. Spiller's performance. That was the most allowed in the league last week, although, again, they won by 20. It's a 3rd and 10, and the give on the inside to Brown, and Brown looking for that first down yardage, and he steps out very close. And they give him a generous spot just outside the 30. That's good for the first.
How about that play? That shows you Todd Haley, they got some different formations. It's just a speed sweep with the wide receiver coming around. Very safe play and call on third down. But the Steelers really love the fact that they have so many guys that can touch the football and make a big play out of it. We saw the quick screen. We saw a speed sweep. I think you'll see a lot of those types of plays here today.
Boy, if he got the first, it wasn't by much, but the spot right on the 30-yard line, enough to move the sticks. Back to the ground they go with Redmond. An early first hit by Sione, and that plugs up the middle and holds him to 1. Time for a little Phil Simms philosophy at the start.
Well, let's talk about Ben Roethlisberger. That's who you bring up when you talk about the Steelers. They move him around just enough to keep the defense unsettled. Look at all this. They got him trapped in the pocket. He makes the move and then throws it across the field. I think you do the Steelers a favor when you pressure him too quick. He will move, find time, and those receivers are so trained to stop and change their route. They make most of their big plays, it seems like, because Roethlisberger moving with the football.
After a short screen and 3 straight rushing plays, a little play action, and Roethlisberger at midfield. He's got his target. It's Mike Wallace with the reception. Good for about 19 and a first.
It's just a two-man route by the Steelers. They're very concerned about pass protection. Look at that. 8 people back there protecting Ben Roethlisberger. And Mike Wallace, you must respect his speed. And Antonio Cromartie as fast as any corner in the league. How about that? 20 yards down the field, driving back to the football, and good timing. Look at all the people helping Ben Roethlisberger back there to give him the extra time to throw it down the field.
That matchup, Wallace and Cromartie on the NFL Today, was one of your matchups to watch in this one. Wallace with the catch at the 50 and a first down, and it's Will Johnson. And Johnson, the fullback, takes it all the way down to the Jets' 25-yard line. Picks up 26.
Well, it's just a mistake by the Jets defense. They confuse which player has who. Everybody jumps inside. Nobody covering the fullback Johnson out in the flat. And a good job by Ben Roethlisberger just reading the route and finding the open guy.
Second career reception for Will Johnson, who had a catch last week against the Broncos that went for 12. He was lined up wide, and that play picked up 26. Chris Rainey now lined up wide to the left, but they're going right. And it's Wallace for a second reception. Cromartie was well off of him. And that gains 6 for the Steelers.
Well, you see what the Steelers are doing. Play action, throw it quick. Play action, block them all, throw it down the field. Move the pocket that time. Quick screen, everything, because they do not want to get in to a pattern. Look at everybody just rolling right. That's all they want is a short pass. The Jets can't confuse you with all their defensive alignments, and it's a good way of protecting an offensive line. They struggle when Ben Roethlisberger just drops straight back.
Jericho Cotchery, the former Jet, lined up to the left, now in motion. And on 2nd and 4 again, the Jets able to stop the run as Redmond tackled for a loss for the second time. One time for 8, this time a loss of 3. And again, Revis with that concussion suffered last week right here, hit by his own teammate, Bart Scott, and not cleared by the doctors to return to full contact.
Right, not sure when he'll be back, but he's able to go out and run around in practice, which is a good sign.
He did not make the trip here, nor did Dustin Keller or Brian Thomas. All 3 are out with injuries, hamstring injuries. For Keller, Thomas an assortment of injuries as Roethlisberger is decked back at the 27. The Jets came barreling through, and it was McIntyre and others who got to him as well as...
Yeah, you said it right, Jim. And just who gets there. There's so many people. They just collapsed it all around Ben Roethlisberger. Not quick enough this time to get outside. And McIntyre, nice play by him to get the sack.
I thought the rookie Copels might have been in there, but it was really McIntyre who did it all. And Sweesom will be out for a 45-yard field goal attempt. He's been outstanding inside the 40, not so outside of it. But this one is drilled. Oh, how the Patriots would have liked to have had a field goal like that by Gostowski at the end of the day on their surprising loss. We've got an update. Let's go back to James Brown in New York.
Jim, a tough nip and tuck battle.
Real tough. And Michael Vick right here, 2-yard touchdown run, putting the Eagles up 24-23 with a minute 55 left, and the Ravens have the ball.
Jim Nance, Phil Simms.
Well, that has been some game to watch. It's been a long game there in Philadelphia. Now the Eagles have a lead.
It's like watching a college football game, and you look up and you go, my gosh, they played for an hour and it's still midway in a quarter.
10-play drive to open this game. Almost 6 minutes. Been 4 out of 4. I mentioned on the throw to JB, the shocker today, Arizona winning at Gillette Stadium against New England.
Yeah. Well, Arizona, I will say this about it. They are fast on the defensive side.
That ended New England's 10-game win streak. Home openers, that is. And now the current streak belongs to the Steelers.
I'll say this, watching that first drive, though, the Steelers' concern about the Jets' defense, the pass rush and all that, well documented, and I can see why, because Ben Roethlisberger, that pocket is moving back towards him fast.
Joe McKnight, just a yard inside the end line as Sweesom. Not going to kick it that deep. On the run. Up comes McKnight, who had a 107-yarder last year at Baltimore. Flags everywhere as he is tackled at the 24 by Keenan Lewis.
Holding during the return. Number 29, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Jerry Frump is the referee for this replacement crew, and there is Mark Sanchez telling us last night the theme of the week. This is this team's first test on the road. Let's go show something. His line, 3 Pro Bowlers a year ago. And there's the big story last week. Austin Howard, who was able to hold off all game long. Mario Williams, what a performance by him. And the rookie Stephen Hill. Big-time debut with a couple of touchdown catches. Penalty puts it at the 10. Sean Green. Hard-fought 5 for Green, who had the most carries of any back in the league last week with 27 attempts and a touchdown. There's a little late action going on between Hill and Ike Taylor.
Casey Hampton with a tackle for the Steelers. King of 7-5 Jets at their 15-yard line.
2nd and 5 for New York from the 15. Again, without Keller today, Cumberland starts it. They also have Dedrick Epps up, and here is another running play with Green, and he is cut out of bounds by Ryan Clark. They'll give him a yard, that's it. The Steelers defense. Yes, it's the oldest defense in the league. There's Hampton in his 12th year out of Texas. Carter, though, in today for Harrison. Again, Harrison inactive. And again, Polamalu is out. So Ryan Monday will take his place for Dick LeBeau's defense. The only time the Jets have ever won in Pittsburgh was December of 2010. And the Jets came in here. Polamalu was inactive that game. Of course, they met a month later right back here. There's Polamalu. We got a flag down on the field. Came back a month later. Pittsburgh
We have
won.
substitution infraction. 12 men in the huddle. 5-year penalty. Remains third down.
Pittsburgh came back a month later in the AFC title game. Sanchez was trying to run off at the last minute.
Didn't matter, too late. Once they all got in the huddle, that's 12 men. That's an easy call, 5-yard penalty, and a big 5 yards.
Tony Sperano and his Jet debut as the offensive coordinator last week. His quarterback had his second best ever quarterback rating with the 3 touchdown passes. Sanchez in the victory. From the gun, Sanchez flings it. Beautiful pass, and Holmes has the first down. A gain of 11. Holmes, the former Steeler, flashing the first down signal.
Yeah, so many things. Santonio Holmes in the slot, his speed, but just a nice job driving up the field and hooking up past the first down marker, and Mark Sanchez right on the money with the throw, which he was with every single throw last week. And the one thing I noticed when you watch this Pittsburgh's pass defense last week against the Denver Broncos, very safe. They don't want to give up the big plays, but they let you throw the football in front of them, and good example of that last play.
So the Jets get out of a jam. A drive that began at the 10. Got a first down and a good fake. Sanchez shakes off the hit and fires it incomplete. Able to avoid the sack thrown in the area of Holmes. That was Keenan Lewis who came crashing in on Mark.
Well, they're trying to get down the field and get a big throw, and it is kind of there for Mark Sanchez, but not time. Lewis sees it, nobody in front of him, attacks the quarterback. But the good thing about Mark Sanchez, avoids the loss of yards and keeps it in a nice situation against the defense. Just like the Jets, they can confuse you and make it tough to find out who you should block.
We've got Jason Smith on the line on the left side. He's an eligible receiver. On 2nd and 10, Sanchez was right side and was going back to Holmes, and he got the flag. He was begging for it, and they pulled it out, and it's going to go against Ike Taylor and the Steelers. Of course, Sanchez and Holmes, they had some off-season work together down in Orlando, and Ike Taylor was there with them.
Pass interference on the defense. Number 24. Be a first down at the spot of the foul.
We're going to see these two going against each other a lot today. Little contact past the 5-yard mark. That's a pretty tough call.
And that was Chris Carter coming in from the outside, trying to get the edge on Sanchez. That's a 12-yard penalty against Taylor. Sanchez trying to clear the air in the offseason with Holmes.
Right.
That ugly ending to the regular season. He went down to see him in Orlando, and they ended up working out for a couple of days together, just throwing the football around, and Taylor came out and worked out with him, defending. First and 10. He's got an open man. It's Curley down to the 20-yard line. Jeremy Curley, off a big performance against Buffalo, springs another one. This one 45 yards.
Well, it was an awesome job by Mark Sanchez hanging in the pocket. What he does is he looks it off, and Curley just going right down the seam. And when you see a play like that, the corner has to be a look at the inside receiver. Too late by Lewis. That's why Curley is open and gets the big gain.
The longest pass play of Curley's career, 45 yards. First down, and Green is knocked down for a loss by Lawrence Timmons. Let's go back to James Brown with another update in New York.
Baltimore down by 1, 4th and 2, Dan.
4th and 2, Joe Flacco drops back and throws the ball out into the flat to Ray Rice, incomplete. Eagles win 24-23.
Eagles improve at 2-0. Baltimore down to 1-1. Back to Jim Nantz and Phil Simms.
How about that? The Eagles with back-to-back one-point victories at Cleveland. That was not pretty, and then they come from behind today and they beat Baltimore. 2-0 for Philadelphia, 1-1 for Baltimore. Second down and 12 in this one. Clyde Gates is wide to the right for the Jets. Here comes the pressure. Woodley coming in on him, and the pass complete to Gates. We mentioned he had just come in, the former Miami Dolphin who was let go by the Dolphins, waived. And the Jets picked him up. He's a speedster. That's good for 10.
Well, it's good protection. Look at Big 77 gives Mark Sanchez a little extra time, and you got to know Clyde Gates is fast on the outside. This is the move that you have to worry about against Lamar Woodley. The speed rush with the crowd noise. Can you hear at the right tackle position? Good job by Austin Howard.
There's Tebow helmet on. He has not seen any action in this opening drive for the Jets. It's a third down for New York, 3rd and 3. Sanchez right on the money to Holmes, who returns to Pittsburgh and scores the touchdown. "14 yards on the slant. Sanchez to Santonio Holmes."
Well, I can't tell if it's a run, and Mark Sanchez takes the backside throw if he wants it. Outside technique by Ike Taylor. Easy throw and completion for Mark Sanchez.
Will take the point after.
Extra point is good. A long drive by the Jets. Jets go 90 yards. In fact, faced a 3rd and 9 back at their own 11 at one point.
You see at top of your screen, really a good job by the Jets. They line up, they get moving, they're quick. Ike Taylor was caught looking inside going, okay, what is the defense against this 3 tight end look that the Jets gave them? Nobody to the right side of the defense. And look what it looks like. Look at the big gap for Mark Sanchez to throw the football into. And for Sanchez, he's picking up right where he left off last week. You know, I watched him during preseason, training camp, everything. I thought he threw the football extremely well. Controlling it, has more power. We talked to him last night, Jim. The weightlifting, he said he got bigger and stronger during the offseason, and he noticed the football just flies out of his hand. Well, of course, strength is going to help you throw it harder and faster, and I think we've seen a direct result of that these first 2 weeks.
He described it as the football just jumping out of my hand. It's gone from roughly about 217 in weight at the end of last season, somewhere around 231 with all that lifting. And you said you've noticed how much sharper the passing, the throwing, the zip on the ball looks.
No question. But in your 4th year, sometimes that's what happens. These quarterbacks now, they just get better every year at throwing the football.
Rainey up to the 2. Takes it past the 20 and collides with a whole host of Jets, including McKnight at the 25. So an opening drive field goal first by the Steelers and an opening drive touchdown by the Jets. Watch Fantasy Football Today to get game time player news, inactive updates to help set your lineup and chat with our experts live every Sunday 11 a.m. Eastern on CBS Sports Network and at cbssports.com/live. That's the first opening drive touchdown allowed by the Pittsburgh defense at home since December of 2010. And again, a little quick toss over to Brown. And Lankster in there to help force him out. Miller with a block. And it gains about 9.
Yeah, I noticed it last week. That's what the Steelers, Ben Roethlisberger says, hey, I think you brought up to him, do you have the best receiving core in the NFL? I don't know if it's the best, but when you put the whole group together, the 4 wide receivers along with Heath Miller tight end, it's pretty dang good. And every one of them can make a play once the football is in his hands.
Well, the play actually went for 10 yards and a first.
180.
From the 36.
27.
And Redmond keeps his balance. And Jeremiah Bell shoves him out after 13 yards.
Isaac Redmond's really done a good job figuring out and opens up the running lane for Redmond, and nice stiff arm too. When you tackle these big running backs in the NFL now, if you go high, they're going to stick that big forearm right in your face.
And there's Mendenhall. Again, he's been back at practice, but they decided to sit him out again. They may wait until they come off their bye week before they put him back in the lineup. Redmond, this time for a couple, right at the 50.
Well, the Jets got their guy inside, Mike DeVito. You said it too, Jim. Sione Bouha, number 91, starting again today. They are borderline great when it comes to stopping the inside run game. When you have that, it just frees up your linebackers. It makes it easy for your outside guys. Don't get a lot of recognition.
2nd and 8. Pass incomplete. And it was thrown over at Emmanuel Sanders, who had a couple of big catches, 4 in all last week against Denver. 3 of them went for first downs on 3rd down plays. He's a part of that dynamic trio at wide receiver for Pittsburgh. Mike Tomlin, who turned 40 this year, had been named head coach at the age of 34, youngest ever to win a Super Bowl.
Well, he said the sense of urgency is definitely with the team. When he described the veterans, not the young guys, he goes, oh, they don't know. It's just another week to them. But the veterans know 0-2 is tough to come from in this league.
3rd and 8. One-on-one coverage, and Brown was able to get away from Ellis Lankster, who we mentioned would be seeing a lot more action today, as everybody had to move up one rung in that secondary lineup.
That's down the bottom of your screen. You see this one-on-one matchup, safety in the middle. It's pretty easy for Ben Roethlisberger to decide what he's going to do. When you bump and run on the outside, he is going to try to, you give him the opportunity, going to throw a back shoulder, nice throw, and good adjustment by Antonio Brown.
I'll tell you, Baron Batch, a backup running back, did a good job of picking up a blitzing Calvin Pace that enabled that play to go for 18. And for the 3rd time in this game, Redmond is set back for a tackle behind the line of scrimmage. This one loses 1.
When you go back a play, you know, instead of it being Ellis Lankster, that could have been Darrelle Revis or Antonio Cromartie. So your decision-making on where to throw the football changes dramatically. Make no doubt about it. As a tandem, Cromartie and Revis the best in the NFL. That changes dramatically now. Kyle Wilson at time was inside, covering another receiver instead of outside.
Set!
2nd and 11.
Black 20!
Ball at the Jets 33.
Black, what's up?
In the final minute, first quarter. Tackle right away at the 26. Cromartie takes him to the ground, picks up 7.
Well, anytime a wide receiver, good example that time. Antonio Cromartie against Mike Wallace. Once they go inside, what's it do? Look at Cromartie. It's going to back you off because you're worried about getting picked, running across the field. What are they going to do? So that cushion makes it an easy throw for Ben Roethlisberger.
Third catch for Wallace. Brown has 3 of his own. And it's a third down play coming up for Pittsburgh. 3rd and 4.
Black, what's up?
And a little nifty play action. Handing it eventually to Rainey, and the Jets right on the spot for a loss of a yard, and that'll close out the quarter. We'll be seeing a field goal try to start the second. Jets lead at 7-3 after 1. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. 1&1 My Website, where creating a business website is easy. And by NFL Mobile from Verizon, built to bring you the game.
Jim Nantz and Phil Simms back here in Pittsburgh.
Let's fake the speed sweep. Look at the handoff. Ben Roethlisberger behind his back to Chris Rainey. A fast guy, a lot of energy they want to get the football to. What's that remind you of, Jim? Boise State, Oklahoma, Fiesta Bowl years ago.
Yeah, the play that actually went for the winner in that crazy shootout. Sweesam's already made one from 45. He's going to try one from the same distance at the other end to start the second quarter. And Sweesam is good again. Now he came in only 3 out of 9 in his career outside of 40 yards at Heinz Field. It's 2 for 2 today. 7-6 Jets. The Pittsburgh offense has run 6 plays inside the Jets 35, but then New York has stiffened on defense and only surrendered a couple of field goals. Last week in the rarefied air at Denver, 5 kickoffs, 5 touchbacks. And he's got one right here. 1 out of 2 today. We'll see the Jets on offense for the second time. Took it down the field for a touch the first time. You're in the mid-70s. And Sanchez so sharp on that first drive, Phil.
Yeah, he is, and it's a little bit of everything. Driving it in between defenders for the first down, then driving it up the field to seam. But the sideline routes, that's what's going to separate him as the year goes along. And again, right on target, the Santonio Holmes, untouched into the end zone. So we saw him last night. I thought we both said the same thing when he walked out of the room. Very confident, very sure of himself when you talk to him.
No question. First down. 6-yard gain by Sean Green, and it's update time. Back to Studio 43 in New York.
Jim and Phil, RG3 and the Skins keeping it going.
All right, from the pistol formation, 10 plays, 80 yards. Robert Griffin III, 5-yard touchdown. Washington up 14-3 over St. Louis.
Back to Jim Nantz and Phil Simms.
All right, guys, of course, Andrew Luck got his first win. Today the Colts edging out the Vikings with a field goal with seconds to go. Luck had a big day. 2nd down and 4. And Green dives off left tackle for only a yard. That is really plugged up by Larry Foote.
Yeah, it takes patience as a runner. I think they got just to the outside. Watch, stay with the blocker. Stay with 38. You cut it back inside. The defense is waiting. Good discipline by the Steelers. Mike Tomlin said last week against the Denver Broncos, what disappointed you the most? Late in the game, the Broncos lined up and ran the football right at the Steeler defense and won the game.
Went to Holmes on third down twice on that opening drive, and this time, last-minute toss. Incomplete, but a flag is generated. Lawrence Timmons may have roughed up Sanchez after the throw.
Even though he's outside the pocket, Jim, you can never hit the quarterback with the crown of your helmet.
Personal foul on the defense. Number 96, blow to the head. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Well, they call it on 96, which is Ziggy Hood.
There's nobody open. Good job by the defense. Covered everybody down the field.
And it's really on Timmons 94.
Oh, he lowers that head, yes. The quarterback, the punter, the kicker, no matter where they are on the field and whatever, unless he's a runner going down the field, you are not allowed to hit him in the head with your helmet.
That's the second penalty on the Steelers defense in this game. Both came on third down and extended drives for the Jets, who have it now from the 42. And it's Green staying low for 4. An action-packed season of Big Brother coming down to the wire. 2 episodes remain before a winner is crowned. Finale week starts tonight, only CBS.
That's got a nice mixture going, but the big thing is they're saying to heck with it. They're lining up, and they're running right at this defense. When you pick up 4 on first down with just an off-tackle run like that, that says a lot. The offensive line right now for the Jets winning the battle up front when it comes to who's being more physical.
Second, and we'll call it 5 down the sideline. And that's Holmes again drawing a flag on the Pittsburgh defense.
Well, you saw that little snicker with Mark Sanchez when you said, did you learn anything about Santonio?
Talking about that offseason workout in Orlando.
Working out together, yes.
Holding on the defense, number 24, 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Second penalty on Taylor.
Top of your screen once it gets past 5. That's a double. Yeah, it's got the arm in front, so that would be considered an arm bar, Jim. So if you're running somewhere, somebody sticks their arm in front of you, you know it's going to slow you down.
So they're working out in the offseason, these 3, Sanchez, Holmes, and Taylor. And I said, you think Taylor learned anything about you too, or did you learn something about Taylor? And he just looked at us with a big grin.
Yeah. Thanks for the information, Mark. We'll read the body language.
No, it totally did. And he's already, of course, got 1 touchdown pass and 2 penalties off of Taylor as he flings it down for Hill. Oh, he had his hands on it at the 5. Ryan Clark was back there to help break it up, but it looked like for a moment Hill might reel it in.
Yeah, it's a really clever route. They're going to run it down. Hill's going to go down. You think he's going deep this way, but he changes at the last second. As you watch him, well designed. And you think, oh, he's going deep, but he bends it back out. Perfect throw by Mark Sanchez. And Stephen Hill really should come down with this catch. Well, Ryan Clark gets his arm on Hill's right arm, and that's what stops it, it looks like.
Second and 10. And that's Green barreling ahead and getting within a half a yard of the first.
Wow.
He third and about a foot.
That was a really good job by the offensive line. It looked like pass all the way. Sanchez holds it to the last second, and look at the blocks inside. Jeff Cumberland. I'll tell you, Jeff Cumberland and Rulin, number 87 last week, were excellent in blocking, and they're off to a good start again here today.
Ball is marked just inside the 40. Green a little shaken up. So the Jets have Powell in there, running back, and he moves ahead for the first down.
Good
Bilal
quick snap.
Powell. 4th-round pick last year out of Louisville, and Green is on the bench.
He's a one-style runner when you talk about Sean Green. It's let me find where the contact is and go towards it. And Mike Tomlin talked about it. He's the type of running back. He's tough, gets that extra yard, and it's all about just keep going and keep going. He gets a better feel for the game like anybody would as it goes along, and his power becomes more efficient in the second half.
Chad Schillen's in at receiver for the Jets for the first time. Here's Powell. Shifts, spins, and gains 5 to the 34, going behind Rulin, who you had mentioned earlier, and Larry Foote is the one who brings him down.
Well, we're so used to watching this Steelers front. It was Brett Kiesel, Aaron Smith, and Casey Hampton. They were unmovable inside. Not quite the same story now. Casey Hampton getting a little older. Some new first-round draft picks going in there. Got to learn to play it better.
2nd and 6, and it's Powell with a wide open lane and a first down. And Monday in the secondary is the one who finally ends that 10-yard run.
And you just never saw this before. Up the middle. Look at the blocking. Brandon Moore. How about John Connor? That is just a stalemate. And the backside does a good job of holding their guys. Matt Slauson does a nice job. And Powell reads it, breaks it outside. Win the space in your face. That's what Tony Sperano said to the offensive lineman.
Powell, they fake to him this time, and Sanchez rolling, firing end zone, and he had him open. Pass a little too steep for Holmes.
You think it's, usually the outside receiver's going this way, but they go across the middle, and it gives Mark Sanchez a chance. The inside safety, nice little double move by Santonio Holmes, throwing lower and across the field. Always quarterbacks make the mistake of throwing it up the field like Sanchez did that time.
2nd and 10, Powell leaps ahead to the 19. It'll set up 3rd and 5.
And, go back to that play. Why it's so good. Usually when the quarterback's rolling towards you, you see him as a corner. You always expect that receiver to run towards the sideline. Well, nice change up by the Jets. They missed a chance for 7 points.
Yeah, they certainly did. It was there for the take, and Powell has done a nice job subbing for Green on this drive. 4 carries, 21 yards. Jets in the red zone, 3rd and 5.
Look at everybody standing up. One person down.
Good pass, and Cumberland had not even turned around. As the Steelers were sending just about everybody.
You're Jeff Cumberland. You got to look at this. Look at all the people standing up. You have to know something is going to happen, and it's not good. And if he turns and looks, he's going to catch that football. It could be for a first down. So nice job by Sanchez. Jeff Cumberland not alert enough.
Robert Malone will hold it. Tanner Purdom to snap it back, as Nick Falk is ready to give it a go from 38 yards. Kick is good. 2 drives for Pittsburgh, 2 field goals, 2 drives for the Jets, a touchdown and a field goal. 10-6 New York, 2nd quarter. The Jets sideline, but it looks like he's going to head in for a little while. Heading to the Jets locker room after being shaken up on a 9-yard run on that Jet drive that had 41 rush yards in all. And Rainey, who had 2 long punt returns in the preseason, unable to get to the full gallop. 23-yard run back just shy of the 20. Green jogs in. Jets leading at 10-6. We're back. Ryan Mundy on the bench. He's the one who delivered the blow on Sean Green, who's shaken up. And meanwhile, Pittsburgh starts this drive at the 19-yard line. And Dwyer getting his first action at running back. Tackled after a 2-yard gain and wrapped up by Bart Scott. Here's what happened with Sean Green. Watch the hit by Mundy. Right to the helmet, and Green was woozy. Watch him after he gets up. Watch him stumble here.
Oh, yes.
Sanchez says, "You're going out."
I'd be very surprised if we saw him again. Don't mean to speculate like that, but when you stumble there, that means it's, of course, you definitely had some head trauma.
So they took him in. Doctors would have to clear him to let him return. 2nd down and 8. Steelers fake the run this time. And back is Roethlisberger tucking it under. And loses 2.
Now they were trying to throw another screen. That time the Jets get a little smarter. You know, after you've seen 4 or 5 screens, you start diagnosing the play of the offensive line. Trying to throw it outside to Johnson.
3rd down and 10.
Did a good job by the defensive line staying in their lanes. Let Ben Roethlisberger come to you.
That actually goes down in the books as a sack. First one for the Jets. Actually, the second one for the Jets. 3rd and 10. Down the side. Thrown toward Antonio Brown. No flag. That was Ellis Lankster who got a hand in there. LaRon Landry coming over as well.
Yeah, the hit was borderline late. I thought it was close. But do you think the sun was a problem? Because there's one strip of sun, and it's on the far sideline right there where the receiver is looking for the football.
Curley, who had the return last week for a touchdown. It's the punt. Here to Drew Butler. And he is taken out of bounds after a 4-yard run back, 42-yard punt. David Paulson's one to twist it about. And you can see that little strip of sun right on the sideline that may have been a factor here.
Oh, no, he has his eyes on there. It's the left arm that's held.
There you look at the Jets' first 2 drives, resulting in points. And now the 3rd series will commence at the 42. Best starting position of the day for either side. Jason Smith on that line. He's seeing a lot of action. Sanchez it over toward Powell. He had all kinds of time, but it was well covered down the field by the Steelers secondary.
Yeah, excellent job switching off down the field. And I like the fact, you know, you think, well, they're going to try to power run it. Watch as they run down the field, and watch the Steeler defensive backs just pass it off. And Ike Taylor stays with his guy. They come across the field, nowhere to go with the football for Mark Sanchez.
Curley and Hill are the receivers on 2nd and 10. Center step move. Trying to find any kind of crease, and nothing was there for Powell. 3rd and 10 on the way. Let's get another update on the Redskins and the Rams. Here's James Brown.
Jim and Phil, guess who we're going to talk about?
Oh, man, big time throw here. RG3 down the middle of the field, wide open. Leonard Hankerson, 68 yards for a touchdown. 21-6, Washington in St. Louis.
Boy, the hype is still going on in Washington. Jim Nantz and Phil Simms.
Another explosive start there for the Redskins on the road for the 2nd straight week. 3rd and 10 for the Jets. And that pass dangerously close to Ike Taylor, thrown in the area of Holmes. A 3 and out for New York.
Well, blitzing is about timing it just right, and they do this time. Ryan Clark comes to the outside. He's unblocked. And Santonio Holmes, if you're going to change the route, you must go in front of the defender.
There's Tebow in as the punt protector. 3rd and 10. Robert Malone is the punter. And it's a beauty. It's right at the 1 and tossed back. Did his feet come down in the end zone? They say no. And the Jets down it. Isaiah Trufant was able to throw it back in play. Very close, though, to planting the feet before it came back out. Oh, this is going to come out to the 20. Breaking the action first.
Isaiah Trufant, number 35. Great job catching it. Get rid of it. Comes down the end zone. And it was a late call, so you weren't sure did he get rid of the football before he hit the ground, but your instincts were right, Jim. They had hands on it.
They had first signaled at the 5, and then just as we went to break, another official came in. So there was no challenge here. It's a touchback, and Pittsburgh will have it at the 20. With 6:43 to go, first half. Dwyer seeing the second quarter action at running back. Redmond in the first.
Black 80! Black is that!
throw over to Pope. Back up tight end. Has 7.
With the reception.
Wrestled to the ground by Calvin Pace.
Pace with the tackle for the Jets.
Well, one of the things that you thought, I think we thought, and the Steelers talked about, if Darrelle Revis doesn't play, then we're going to look for that third receiver against their third quarter. It would be Isaiah Trufant or Lankster, one of those two, but we haven't seen them just line up and take advantage of that situation yet. Jets overall playing pretty conservative on defense. Not blitzing.
2nd and 3. Stepping up, firing. And gets the completion over to Dwyer for 11. And the sticks will move.
Well, it's just a nice job by Ben Roethlisberger moving in the pocket. And he steps up. Calvin Pace goes underneath, tries to chase him. And he is uncanny how, oh my gosh, being pulled by the jersey. But even last week, the game they were leading the Denver Broncos, and I'm watching the game going, every drive was just so hard. 3rd and long, Roethlisberger scrambling, making great throws. That's what kept them in the game.
Like 20.
You set it downs at the 38. And it's Dwyer who's impressing the coaches around here with his growth and maturity. Now in his 3rd year. Well, the Facts of Life star, the baseball MVP, and 3 wounded castaways back for a second chance. Survivor season premiere is this Wednesday.
You talk about Jonathan Dwyer, number 27, 3rd year. He's only 23 years old in his 3rd year. And Mike Tomlin said, look, he came to camp in great shape, and he has just worked hard since he's been here, and it shows. That's why he was productive last week. That's why he's getting carries now.
Yeah, he said it just got it. You know, he was a 3rd-year junior when he came out of Georgia Tech. Pass. Brown had some space.
Roethlisberger's pass intended for Brown, incomplete.
So the Jets confirmed
Coverage by Landry.
it was a head injury on Sean Green. That just coming up to us. Questionable to return.
Hey, LaRon Landry on that last play, that receiver's wide open. But boy, when that football was in the air, can he cover ground? And that's what you notice. You let him just roam around back there. He can help out the defensive backs. He can close fast and make tackles, very aggressive. And he definitely caught the attention of the Steelers offense during the week as they watched him against the Buffalo Bills.
The Steelers trying to convert here on another 3rd down.
11 guys standing up.
Yep. Timeout call by Pittsburgh. 4:23 to go in the 2nd quarter.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by FedEx. FedEx does more than shipping. FedEx, solutions that matter. And by Geico, where 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Coming back out of a Steeler timeout. Facing 3rd down here in a moment.
Yeah, look at this. He's just going, you know, I'm not even going to deal with this. Everybody's standing up, walking around. Who's going to block who? That's what the Steelers are worried about. Expect the unexpected when you play the Jets.
Got to get out to the 49 for a first. It's Sanders, who again had 3 3rd down conversions last week. And he's got another one here. Good for 10.
Yeah, it's a little too much space on the left side. A lot of field to cover. You're worried about down the field. Kyle Wilson, expecting probably an outside breaking route, which is what a lot of times that's what that inside receiver does. But again, safe defense by the Jets. They're a little more conservative maybe this year because they expect the defensive line. They've drafted there the last couple years. They expect some of those guys to get some pass rush pressure without blitzing.
6 different receiver. Won the game for Pittsburgh, and through a tiny opening, Dwyer has 4. Coming up, the Verizon halftime report. JP, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Cowher. All the latest NFL scores and the highlights of the early action, including Arizona's stunning win at New England, the Giants' big comeback as Eli put up Sims-like numbers, over 500 yards today. All that and more, Verizon halftime report.
The difference is he did it, they won. When I did it, we always lost.
You did have a 500-yard game twice, right? And
no,
lost.
just once.
Just once? Okay.
180.
And you didn't win.
We did not.
20 seconds.
Second down here for Pittsburgh.
Couldn't do it all by himself.
That's another catch by Sanders for a first down inside the late flag. Going to go against the Jets. 19 yards on the pass play.
After the play, personal foul, late hit out of bounds, number 30 on the defense. We'll go half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
You could just sense that one of these were going to be thrown sometime against LaRon Landry, and here it is.
Well, what happens is just coming all the way across the formation, and there you have Sanders catching against David Harris. And you're right, Jim, that time they get LaRon Landry. Way out of bounds. Even looks worse when you see it from overhead.
And the step off puts the football inside the 14. After a 19-yard pass play, 13 yards added on the penalty. And Dwyer on the right side.
Jonathan Dwyer
inside the 10 behind Heath Miller for 5.
Look at that blocking from behind. Jonathan Dwyer, good double team by Pope. And Gilbert on the right side, number 77, opens up that lane. And Jonathan Dwyer sees it.
And this is going to bring us to the 2-minute warning. Steelers inside the 10. The Jets lead it 10-6. You're watching the NFL on CBS, home of Super Bowl 47. Well, Pittsburgh's had the football for 5.5 minutes more than the Jets. This is after really winning the time of possession battle big time against Denver, of course, falling 31-19 in the end. This is the 8th play for the day inside the Jets 35. Still looking for a first touchdown. 2nd and 5 from the 8. It's Dwyer. And nowhere to go with that one. Give him a yard.
Dwyer, the ball carrier.
Wilkerson and Ellis, the bottom of that pile.
Ellis with a tackle for the Jets.
The Jets call the timeout with 1:52 to go in the half. This has gotten so much better here in recent years, how you manage the last 2 minutes, even if you're on the defense, like the Jets calling the timeout here.
Absolutely. So no matter what happens on this drive, after the kickoff, at least gives them the opportunity to try to determine what they want to do, if they want to try to go down and take a chance and get a chance in another field goal.
3rd and 4, and out of the gun with 4 wides. Roethlisberger shakes off the hit and tosses it down to the 1. It's going to be a first down, but not a touchdown. That was Bell who put the big hit on Cotchery, the former Jet. But Cotchery holds on for the first down at the 1.
Well, the Jets all game long, no blitz, and that time they get a free runner at Ben Roethlisberger. What you always find out, he's about 250 pounds, but he plays like he's about 280 because he stays relaxed and really sits in his feet and is able to break arm tackles.
He got away from Landry. And the Steelers first and goal at the 1. Redmond back in the game. Roethlisberger to the end zone. Touchdown, Pittsburgh. Heath Miller.
Something looked by Rex Ryan. He's bad because they had the free blitzer and they didn't end the drive. First down again, play action pass. You got to give Todd Haley a lot of credit. The quick passes, blocking it up, moving the quarterback. They are doing everything they can to keep the Jets off balance.
Miller's first catch of the game goes for a touchdown. His second one in 2 weeks. And squeeze him. Makes it 13-10. Heath Miller caught 2 touchdowns all of last season. Now he has 2 in the first 6 quarters of this season. Steelers in front. Heath Miller with the touchdown catch from a yard out. And Pittsburgh has the lead with about a minute to go here in the first half.
Well, Todd Haley says this guy just said, hey, he's really, really good, and we got to make sure we call his number enough times during the game, because you know he can be matched up against linebackers and safeties, and if he gets those matchups, he's good enough to win it down the field.
You saw Todd Haley, the former Kansas City head coach, come over and give a nice nod and congrats to Heath Miller. Haley, the offensive coordinator here, coming back to the city where he was raised. And McKnight trying to give the Jets a little light before the half. And he gives them a nice little jump out to the 31, 34-yard run back.
Well, this is pretty simple. They call it a national pass, Jim, because it's a fake running play, and then it's the fullback blocks in the flat and the tight end in the corner. Every team in the league runs it. It's all about when you call it. First down is excellent.
Todd Haley says, way to go, Jericho. Holding on to that one. Tomlin taps the helmet of Roethlisberger. Jets with 57 seconds to go in the half. Go to the ground. And Powell has two. And the Jets, even though they have two timeouts, they are just going to let things settle down here.
Yep, let the Steelers settle down and this crowd.
Again, the Verizon halftime report with JP and all the crew coming up with all the scores and highlights on the Verizon halftime report.
Good decision, I think, by Rex Ryan managing this right here. If you're a Jet fan, I know you're upset, but think about the playoff game here years ago. You know, situation late in the first half, they try to push it down the field. Mark Sanchez fumbles.
Yep.
Probably cost them the game.
Strip sack, touchdown, William Gay. It was that occasion. And there is Powell. Again, right into the Pittsburgh front for two. And that's going to close it out. The Jets will be receiving the second half kickoff. But the Steelers will go to the locker room with the lead at 13-10. Verizon halftime reports coming up with all the scores and highlights. And you're watching the NFL on CBS, home of Super Bowl 47. Beautiful skyline of the Steel City, where Art Rooney founded the franchise back in 1933 as the Pirates, and they became the Steelers in 1940. 80th year football here for this franchise. Let's take a look at the DirecTV Ultimate Picture Cam, and it's the touchdown for Pittsburgh. Roethlisberger to Miller with a minute to go in the first half, giving them the lead as the third quarter's about to commence with the Steelers kicking to the Jets. McKnight will be back deep for the Sweetson kick. Been a long time since Sanchez completed a pass, Phil. His last completion was the touchdown toss to Santonio Holmes. And here we go in the second half. It's a touchback all the way. We'll be seeing Sean Green comes back out here, suffering that head injury in the first half. He has the helmet on, and he is coming back out. So that's a big bit of news here, Phil Simms, as we get set now for the second half.
Well, it's good news for the Jets. You know, it is, because I thought I noticed a difference when he went out of the game. He's just a better runner than Bilal Powell. And so the Jets want to be a power running team. He's in there. They get that for their offense.
So the Jets, the first two times they had it today, drove for a touchdown and a field goal. And there is Sean Green returning to action after missing most of the second quarter. Sanchez in trouble, steps up and fires it for the completion to Rulin, Conrad Rulin. First-year player out of Stanford, has 7 yards. And again, Sean Green suffered that head injury on a real hard-fought 9-yard gain on what was ultimately their field goal drive in the second quarter.
Yeah, when he goes out, Jim, now there is a trainer up in the booth who can show the Jets how he got hurt. And only the Jets medicine personnel can look at it, medical personnel, I should say, And they look at that, and it's up to the Jets medical staff to determine if he can come back into the game.
Well, here he is, Phil, and he breaks a couple of tackles and gets within a yard of the first. It'll set up 3rd and 1, and this is the hit on Green by Ryan Mundy. Collision right into the side of the head, and they got a little bobbly and wobbly, and he was sent in. He went in for the test, and like you said, go through a whole battery of tests before you are cleared to come back onto the field.
Yes, and the Jets medical staff is the one that makes the determination whether he can come back in this game. They deem to be healthy enough. That's why he's back in there.
3rd and 1, they'll lean on him here, and Green into the pile, and he is able to take it for the first.
Green to the 30.
Into the arms of Timmons, but not until that football goes across the 30.
You talked about it. It's been a long time since the touchdown pass to Santonio Holmes, since Mark Sanchez has completed a pass.
We got that little one to Ruland here to start this drive, the start of the third quarter.
One where he moved up.
And there's Tony Sparano, the former Dolphins head coach, and now the offensive coordinator. Which Sanchez, he did his intel, didn't he, on Sparano? We'll talk about that. That was picked up on the blitz, and down the middle, it is caught. Although Taylor says it hit the ground, there is a flag in the backfield. Holmes says, I made the catch. But a holding call against New York anyway. They ruled
Holding on the offense. Number 23, 10 yards previous spot. Remains first down.
They never gave Holmes credit for the catch. Incomplete.
No, they ruled it incomplete down the field. Sean Green, number 23, on the outside against Ryan Clark. Puts his hands on the outside. That is a good call. And yeah, I forgot about the short pass with Sanchez because I was too busy looking at Sean Green back in the game. And they ruled that incomplete, but his arms are definitely underneath there, and that ball did not hit the ground. Doesn't matter, though. And the holding penalty, which would have negated it anyway.
1st and 20 now for New York. And they'll run it for 3 with Green. Boy, Holmes had a very big start to this game on that opening drive. They ended up with a 3rd down conversion, drew a pass interference call, and then got the touchdown. Another call he's able to generate in that first half. There's the touchdown catch. All of those plays you just saw happen on 3rd down. It's 2nd here. 2nd and 18. Good toss, Cumberland. He had Steelers all over him.
The Jets let the offensive tackle Howard blocks down, and that puts Sean Green on a blitzer, and there's a free guy running. That's Timmons. So, boy, that's asking a lot to throw a hot right in that crowd just for a couple yards.
Ryan Clark by the ankles, Brandon Johnson up high. They restrict that to only a couple, so it's 3rd and 16. Sanchez is decked, and it's Lamar Woodley making that play. That was one of the other featured matchups for you today, Phil. Austin Howard and that jet line against Lamar Woodley.
Number 77 to the outside. Oh, Lamar Woodley just got a great jump on the snap of the ball. You take that with crowd noise and his ability, that's why he gets around and gets the sack.
First Pittsburgh sack. And Malone sends it to Rainey. Oh, he almost was able to keep his feet. Got tripped up by McIntyre. So the Steeler defense gets to Sanchez. Pittsburgh leads it by a field goal. Boy, and he just barely held on. And that is what Pittsburgh did in the first half with the football. Scoring on 3 of 4 possessions. This is their best starting point. First time beyond their own 25. And Dwyer Slashes right. And into the arms of that Jets defense, led by Bart Scott for a short gain. Again, we talked about late first half about the Steelers. Bruce Arians moves on to Indianapolis. Here is Todd Haley, the former Chiefs head coach, coming back home here to Pittsburgh as the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, he's done a really good job here today, finding ways to get the football to all the different players. And the main thing, Jim, keeping his quarterback. No matter what you say here in Pittsburgh, it's about the quarterback. Forget about the power running game. You keep Ben Roethlisberger in rhythm, and he has done that so far today.
2nd and 8. And there the Steelers move it over to the Jet side of the field. It's Brown with the catch and a flag thrown in at the end after the 11-yard pickup. Landry was the one who tackled him. He's already been flagged once with a personal foul call.
We have personal foul. Horse collar tackle, number 30 on the defense.
And that's his second.
15 yards from the end of the run. Automatic first down.
Well, you got to have your hand inside the jersey or the shoulder pads, and you pull the runner or receiver sideways or backwards, and that is a definition of it. This is a good call. Got his hand in there. It's not severe, but he does pull him backwards and down, and that's why the flag was thrown.
Well, the penalty brings the football all the way to the 31 of New York.
New York being very conservative on the defensive side, playing a lot of zones. And when you play a Ben Roethlisberger, Tom Brady, it's too easy. They're going to find the gaps, and they're going to keep completing passes.
And Roethlisberger's pass almost picked off. That was David Harris who had a hand on it. Intended for Jericho Cotchery.
Well, good job by David Harris. We talked to him. 10 pounds lighter, Jim.
Yep.
So a little quicker. And Rex Ryan said to his defensive guys, David Harris, Bart Scott, and all of them, get in better shape. And if you want to play on third downs when the other team's going to throw it, you better be able to cover receivers down the field.
Well, that's what he was all the talk really for David Harris when we met with him last night. With all the no-huddle offense that's in the league now and saying it's a passing league, you better be in good shape. You better be lighter and ready to go the distance. 2nd and 10. And Dwyer set way back by Muhammad Wilkerson.
Well, it's Muhammad Wilkerson on the outside that stops everything. And that's what they're hoping. 96, watch him come up the field, gets penetration against Max Starks. And Rex Ryan hopes Muhammad Wilkerson is a force inside, can push the pocket, get in the face of opposing quarterbacks, get 5 or 6 sacks a year, and then he hopes Quentin Coples, his first-round draft pick, is able to get all those sacks in the numbers when there's obvious passing situations.
And for Dwyer in his 3rd year, it's the first time. He doesn't have that many career attempts, about 50 rushes. That's the first time he's ever been tackled for a loss. In fact, it lost 6. 3rd and 16. Roethlisberger heaves it toward Wallace. Wallace gets free, and he's got the touchdown. Cromartie says no catch. He thought the feet were not both in, but it's 37 yards. Wallace was able to wait for this one. First one, second one. Man, he had the foot sideways.
Watch this.
There's one.
Oh my gosh, I think it's in when you first look at it. What a job by Mike Wallace, realizing he's so close to the sidelines and able to get that second foot down. Of course, touchdowns will be reviewed upstairs, and that is so close. You got to look at it a second time.
Mike Wallace, who had a touchdown catch last week at Denver, did
Previous play is under review.
not have that great a second half of the season last year. It's his first touchdown catch, if it holds up, of 25 yards or more since week 7 last year.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. State Farm. For auto, home, life, and banking, get to a better state. And by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV.
They're still reviewing the Mike Wallace catch and the second foot. Watch this effort, though, to get it in. From there, it looks like you see a little green.
Well, the good thing is we have a white sideline, yellow shoes, and you can, I think you're right. I think there's a little bit of green grass between every part of that yellow shoe and the white sideline.
Wallace, the first Steeler wide receiver to start in the Pro Bowl since John Stallworth back in '85, and here's the call.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. The receiver got both feet down in the end zone.
His 26th career touchdown, and 16 of those have come from outside of 30 yards.
Well, I think a lot of people think he's the fastest wide receiver in the NFL, so that stat does not surprise me. I asked him the other day, what's your edge against defensive backs? And his answer was, me.
Me. Can you get a little more specific here?
Yeah.
You pressed
Me.
him? Me. Extra point good. 14 unanswered now by Pittsburgh. Roethlisberger avoided a blitzer. And what an acrobatic catch in terms of the footwork by Mike Wallace for the touchdown.
Well, when you watch this, watch Ramon Foster. LaRon Landry comes on the blitz. That frees up David Harris to come in untouched. So twice today, the Jets have had free runners at Roethlisberger, and what's happened? Touchdown. The other one was when he stepped up and hit Emmanuel Sanders down to the 1 yard line. So maybe that's why the Jets have decided not to blitz him so much. And two, you have to worry about these receivers. They're fast, acrobatic. Cromartie in good position, but the underthrow is very tough to deal with for a cornerback.
Wallace told us he liked the matchup with Cromartie because he was rangy, and size-wise, he was a lot like the Steeler defenders he goes against in practice every day.
And he said what? I can stop faster than he can. Good example on that touchdown.
And McKnight bobbles it for a moment, but comes out with it. He's got plus 20 after the 27. Don't forget that touchdown pass came on a 3rd and 16 play. So Sanchez getting ready to come back out, and Tebow's coming out too for a first offensive snap. Now Sanchez retreats, so Tebow comes out for his first offensive play of the game. And we've got a jet down. It's John Connor, their fullback, who works special teams as well. We'll take an injury timeout here.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Mazda. We believe if it's not worth driving, it's not worth building. And by Frost Brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer.
And aerial coverage provided by DirecTV. The city of Pittsburgh regaling in the improved play this year of the Pirates, the always successful Pittsburgh Penguins. The Pitt Panthers upset win yesterday over Virginia Tech on this field, and the Steelers, in fact, up 10. As Tebow takes the play up the middle, and Tebow goes all the way out to the 49 on his first handle of the game. Of course, Tebow against this Pittsburgh team led Denver to a wild card playoff victory in overtime in January.
Well, it's a good blocking on the backside. DeBrickashaw Ferguson knocks down 99 Brett Kiesel and opens up the running lane for Tim Tebow.
Sanchez applauding. He talked to us last night about his very close friendship with Tim Tebow.
Says he's a good guy, and it's working between the two of them. Says he stays in the game when he's on the sideline.
He's the second. That was the second longest play of the day for the Jets. And this time the give is to McKnight. McKnight getting his first carry, and he has a beautiful wiggle move to take it inside the 40 and a gain of 12. And there's a little skirmish in the middle of the field. And this was, of course, the winner to Demaryius Thomas back in January. He threw for over 300 yards, including that 80-yard winner to eliminate the Steelers last year in the playoffs.
Mike Tomlin did not compare that game to this one today. He says the difference is when he was in Denver, he was the quarterback. So there was a lot to deal with, the passing and the running. Right now, he says it's got to be a package, so it's not about the whole offense built around Tim Tebow. Steelers having trouble getting the right personnel in the game.
2 plays, 2 big gains. And Sean Green alertly tackled by Ryan Clark and a loss of 6. Sanchez coming back onto the field.
Boy, Ryan Clark back in the lineup, number 25. That is a fast read, and he gets inside before Rulin, the tight end, can block him. Reads it, diagnoses, look at that, gets inside and makes the tackle in the backfield. Ryan Clark was really missed last week against Denver.
So Tebow out. Sanchez returns, 2nd and 16. Sanchez able to avoid the sack. He was getting hit down low by Woodley and then later Timmons.
Well, it's what happens here. It just takes too long for somebody to get open down the field, and then when you put Sean Green on Lamar Woodley, that is, you're just not going to win that matchup.
Yeah, and Green lost his footing. Hill was the intended receiver. He has not made a single catch in this game after the 2 touchdowns last week in his debut. 3rd and 16 from the Pittsburgh 45. Jets pick up the blitz. Sanchez fires it. Taylor knocks it down. Incomplete, intended for Holmes.
Well, it was a good job by the Jets. They're going to keep the tight end and running back in to try to give Mark Sanchez extra time to throw the football down the field. He gets it, a lot of space, nobody open to throw it to.
So 3rd and 16 went for a touchdown at the Pittsburgh end for the Steelers. This one an incompletion, and after a quick boost by Tebow for a moment, that play by Ryan Clark on Sean Green really stymied any momentum. The Jets cover this one well. Lankster down there to put a hand on it. 43-yard punt. Roethlisberger's thrown 2 touchdown passes, coming back out now with a 10-point lead. We are back here at Heinz Field with the Steelers leading it 20-10, and Chris Rainey is the tailback standing in the end zone here from the 4-yard line. Roethlisberger over to Rainey and shoved out of bounds by Calvin Pace. And not until Rainey races out for a quick 5. Not too late to play NFL.com fantasy football. You can sign up today for the official fantasy game of the league. NFL.com/fantasy.
You know, something just catches your attention. Ben Roethlisberger in rhythm. A couple blitzes have gotten to him where he made plays, but the Jet defensive line really, after that initial surge, not able to put pressure on him in passing situations.
2nd and 5, Walker back and running back, and he just gets back to the line of scrimmage. You're right, that first, early in the game, the Jets had 3 tackles for a loss, and they were just breaking right through the line.
Yeah, they were overpowering, but I'll tell you, Todd Haley helped his offensive lineman out. The quick passing game, moving the quarterback, everything like that. Now they're in rhythm, and all these offensive linemen seem to have the rhythm of the defensive lineman down, and they're giving him pretty good protection.
This will be a big stop for this Jets defense.
3 down linemen, always be alert for a blitz when you see that from the Jets.
3rd and 5 for Pittsburgh. Inside of 5 minutes to go in the 3rd. Here come the Jets. Roethlisberger has time in front. And he's got Sanders. Where are they going to spot this one? Mike Wallace got tangled up and had a little shove. The linesman. And it looked like a pretty generous spot on this occasion.
Boy, you think? I thought he was definitely short, but this is going to be close. It's really something, even if we see it, Jim, and realize the spot is maybe a foot or 2 or longer than it should be. Here comes Wallace across. Good job by Bart Scott.
Well, from right there, he's a yard short.
That yellow line, of course, is not official.
I think you're going to see a red flag coming out on the Jets sideline. Here it comes. And even though that yellow line on that replay was not official, it still looked like he was down at the 13.
Yes, and it's got to be clear when you're asking to remark the football in the middle of the field.
Okay, well, he's past the 13.
That nose of the football, that's, I can't tell. Does that look like that's the nose of the football?
The Jets have challenged it.
Hard to win these, but it's a good, even then, it's such a big play. Good challenge by Rex
New
Ryan.
York is challenging the ruling on the fielding of forward progress.
This will be a big review. Huge difference between punting from your own 13 or having a new set of downs. And we're back. Look at the chains on the far side. Looks like the first down mark is just past the 14.
Those are the official mark too on the top of the screen. Definitely just short of the 14. Now when you finally see the football, look where it is.
Sanders appears to be a few inches, 5-6 inches shy of the 14.
I saw one exactly like this in a game earlier today. When you're talking about remarking the football and moving it, Jim, 1 foot or half a yard, they're reluctant to do it. They're reluctant to do it. A lot of times they stay with the call on the field. If it was the 20-yard line or one of the markers where you could definitely see, but when you're talking about 13, 14-yard line, that's when it becomes difficult. But the longer it takes, the better it is for the Jets.
Well, Sanders, in his first 2 weeks of this season, has made some third down conversions, trying to do it again right here.
You can tell the football just short of the 14-yard line.
And again, the official chains, and you check that during the commercial break, you can see on the far side. There you go. Past the 14. He's talking with Charles Derrick, the line judge. Jerry Frump, the referee, with the headset on. And again, week 2 of the replacement officials, who you have to say, there have not been glaring errors through the first 2 weeks of the season.
Yeah, of course it's hard to judge. They've done a good job, Jim. Hard to judge because we're talking about judging a lot of judgment calls. So it's how they feel and what they see on the field.
I think with all that discussion with the line judge, this is going to be a win for Ryan's challenge.
They're going to move it back. We'll find out.
After further review, the ball carrier was stopped just short of the 14-yard line. We're going to respot the ball and remeasure. Please reset the game clock, 4:37.
Let's see how far back they move it.
Well, they have the length, well, about 3/4 of the football past the 14-yard line. So it was so close. If they're going to move it just short of the 14, and it's going to have to be short. So it was clear enough for them to see those yard marks, Jim, where they could determine that it was definitely short of the 14-yard line.
Well, Pittsburgh's already sent Drew Butler out there to punt it. 4th and just inside a yard, and Mike Tomlin's going to send it back to the Jets with Jeremy Curley ready to return it. The first Jet to record a receiving and punt return touchdown in the same game in Jet history. It happened last week against Buffalo. Went 68 yards.
That was a good quick challenge. Rex Ryan knew how big this play was for his football team.
And Curley fumbles it this time. Ball is out. Mundy is there. There is a flag down. Ryan Mundy on the recovery. Let's check the flag. DeMarcus Van Dyke was down there on the coverage team for Pittsburgh near Curley. And some Jet teammates. There's Powell trying to boost the spirits of Curley, get the football back
During the
anyway.
kick, we had a legal block in the back. Number 20 on the receiving team. That penalty's declined. First ball for Pittsburgh. He's down for Pittsburgh.
Well, he signaled in the wrong direction.
Kyle Wilson making the illegal block. That was not fair catch well, it wasn't fair catch interference, but he gave him plenty of space. And what happened, Curley took his eyes off the football because he could see out of the corner that Van Dyke was coming fast.
First turnover of the game. The Jets go through all of that. They win the challenge and still they give it back. As Rainey is able to slice and dice ahead for 4. Saturday, the Home Depot SEC on CBS. James Franklin and the Missouri Tigers battle Marcus Lattimore and the Gamecocks of South Carolina. The action begins with college football today. Next Saturday, Vern Lundquist, Gary Danielson, Tracy Wolfson will be there for the call. 2nd and 6. And Dwyer returns to the backfield as they keep shuttling in these backs. We've seen 4 different backs in there, including Baron Batch, Rainey, Dwyer, and Redmond. Getting away from all the heat and on the run where he's so dangerous. That pass incomplete and short of Dwyer.
Oh, he had him. I mean, you got to have discipline when you're rushing Ben Roethlisberger, because when he moves outside McIntyre, look at that running lane for him, and he is waiting for somebody to break free, and Jonathan Dwyer does. Receivers, let's see if they change their routes. They start moving when they see their quarterback move, covered down the field.
There was a big running lane there for Ben if he wanted it.
Yeah, he does the right thing. Keep looking downfield for the big play instead of a 5-yard run.
He calls the timeout with 3:35 to go in the third. 3rd and 6 will be coming up out of the break. Steelers have the lead by 10. Jim Nantz, Bill Sims, and all the crew. Lance Barrow, Mike Arnold, our production and technical crew. Thanks to all of them here as we get our Super Bowl season on CBS, again heading toward New Orleans in Super Bowl 47 on February the 3rd. We got a 3rd and 6 coming up here, Phil.
Well, when you look at it, the Jets, again, not really they're just not getting pressure on the quarterback. We talked about it earlier. 2 times they've done it. It's because of the blitz. And you got to be careful taking, gambling on defense because of the speed of these wide receivers and a mobile quarterback.
You saw a smiling DeMarcus Van Dyke, who helped force that fumble by Curley to set up the Steelers in plus territory. What can they do with it? 3rd and 6, and Rainey could not hold on to it. Incomplete.
That was a good call. The Jets are on a blitz, and if they catch that football and block the guy that's covering Chris Rainey, 5 guys coming on the blitz, David Harris is the only person that can stop it. He would have gone outside, and Willie Colon most likely would have blocked him. It would have been interesting.
They're staying out there with the offensive unit on 4th and 6 at the 38.
Well, but it's always up to me in these situations. I watch them. I'm up here. I always, Ben Roethlisberger, what do? You take the 5-yard penalty and punt it? Or do you waste another timeout?
Well, they already used one timeout just a moment ago. And that will decide things. They'll be
5-yard
punting
penalty. Remains 4th down.
I err on the side of caution. I would be conservative. What has the Jet offense done? Why give them such great field position? Punt it back and see if they can march the football down the field. So the Steelers, maybe they got lucky there with being a little disorganized.
Well, the Jets offense since the first drive of the game, they've had one other field goal drive. That was their second series.
Right.
As now Curley runs up. So the Jets leave it empty. Back deep. And Carter is there. And the rest of the Steelers to down it.
Down by Carter.
They had Curtis Brown down there. Chris Carter eventually sets it down at the 6. Want to see a little acting performance? Watch Drew Butler.
Hey, that's what you're supposed to do. Of course, the officials they're always alerted for it too, Jim, and no call there.
That's why one of the great kickers, Kevin Butler, the Bears and the Arizona Cardinals. You remember him for the Bears and those super teams of the coach, Mike Ditka. Pittsburgh born. From the 6. And the Jets have a first down as Conrad Rulin has 13 yards on his second catch.
Well, I think that when you watch this game right now, Tony Sparano, his job is to get his quarterback involved in the football game again. He made it easy for him to start the game. Now they're throwing in a lot of obvious passing situations, and there's really not been anything down the field for Mark Sanchez, except for that one when he rolled out and missed the receiver in the end zone.
Off the middle, and that's Powell for 5. Timmons the tackler.
You know, it's always a wonderful thing. Then you say, oh, we want to be a physical offense. That is awesome. That's good. If you can accomplish that. But at the same time, you always, in this league, especially now, you have to keep the quarterback in rhythm, keep his confidence, and keep him involved.
Interesting, Green on the sideline. After seeing action earlier in this quarter, coming back from a early second quarter head injury. Sanchez flings it, and he fires it in there, incomplete. Holmes could have had it, should have had it.
On top of your screen, Santonio Holmes against Ike Taylor, and this football just gets there before Santonio Holmes can spot it and bring it in.
In real time, Sanchez has 3 completions in the last 2 hours. 7 out of 16 on the day. A lot of damage done on that first drive of the game. Not much sense. 3rd and 5. And over the head of Curley. So they pick up a first down on the first play to Rulin, and then 3 plays and a punt coming.
Well, I think the football gets away from Mark Sanchez. He throws it high. Backside safety. Watch him coming, though. Oh, if that ball was completed, Ryan Monday was there to make a big hit.
Yeah, you could see it coming, couldn't you?
Yes.
So Malone stands at the 10. Timeout, Pittsburgh.
Timeout. Charge to Pittsburgh. This is their second timeout of the half.
They looked at that formation, which included Tebow on a wing to the left, and they called a timeout.
That's why they did it, because it was something they weren't ready for, and they were afraid of the pass.
Nobody knows the game like a quarterback. Don't miss Phil Simms, Rich Gannon, Steve Berline on NFL Monday Quarterback. That's tomorrow, 6:30 Eastern, only on CBS Sports Network, 24-hour home of CBS Sports.
Well, I'll tell you this, that last formation and what alerted the Pittsburgh Steelers, I was watching warm-ups, and Tim Tebow was jogging down the field, catching some passes. I saw one of the Steelers assistants, when he caught the pass, turned and started talking to another coach. So that alerted them right there. Hey, he might be in some type of passing formation today. Let's be alert for that. So maybe that's what caused the timeout.
No trickery here. Malone's punt not caught fully, and not a favorable jet bounce either. as Trufant downs it at the 44. How about Seattle and the Cowboys? James Brown with the update.
Boy, the Cowboys are sleepless in
Oh,
Seattle,
you ain't kidding, JB. Marshawn Lynch, 3-yard touchdown right here. He had 21 attempts so far in the day, 109 yards, 27-7 Seattle jumping all over Dallas.
Will not be the Jerry wipes. He'll need a crying towel. Back to Jim Nantz and Phil Simms.
And by the way, rookie quarterback for Seattle, Russell Wilson, 14 out of 18. 1 touchdown, no picks.
Well, they played it pretty safe last week against the Cardinals, and after watching the Cardinals, they understand why they lost in Arizona to them.
We have illegal touching by a member of the kicking team. He went out of bounds, so it was the first to touch the ball after he came back in. That penalty will be enforced at the dead ball spot, 5 yards. Pittsburgh's ball, 1st and 10.
That was Isaiah Trufant who came back in to down it at the 44, so that's a 5-yard penalty. Brings it up to the 49.
Here he is down here. And what happens when you get blocked out of bounds legally, you cannot be the first person to touch it. If you're knocked out of bounds illegally by a block that's illegal, of course, then you can come in and steal down the football.
Bouncing around with a flag down, picking up about 7. Equipment flying everywhere. Kenrick Ellis of the Jets, Max Starks of the Steelers. Tangled up well past the whistle. And a flag from earlier on that play.
Holding. Number 77 on the offense. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay, 1st down.
He's a right tackle, Marcus Gilbert, who's in his 2nd year out of Florida.
Number 77 going down inside, gets beat inside by DeVito.
Oh, Bart Scott jolting Gilbert to the ground, but he'd already been flagged for that holding call, had Gilbert. As the Steelers try to rebuild this offensive line, Gilbert in his 2nd year, Pouncey in his 3rd. Of course, they went 1st round with David DeCastro, who's injured with a knee, could still come back into the year. 1st and 20. Scott comes in on him, and Ben gets away, flings it downfield, incomplete. Wow, was Bart Scott across that line in a hurry.
And blitzing, you hear me say it all the time, it's about giving the blitzer the space and then time it perfectly. How about this timing? He comes right in, and Roethlisberger sees it and once again gets out of trouble.
Another flag is down.
Well, they're saying he wasn't outside the pocket.
Got intentional grounding. Number 7. 10-yard penalty. Replay, 1st down.
And I think as we've watched it live, I think it's tackle to tackle. So as he stands right there, well, it's pretty close. He's right behind that tackle.
I heard him say 1st down, but it's a loss of down on intentional grounding. It should be 2nd down. Everything here indicates 1st down because the referee said that over the speaker, but it should be 2nd and 30.
Very good. You're correcting it on the sideline right now.
Okay. You lose the down and you lose the 10 yards.
Well, that was a big play for the New York Jets. The hold, and then Bart Scott getting in there and timing it perfectly and getting another penalty.
Black 80. Black is up.
Has played the Black. Shot steps ahead. Nowhere to go. And he is backed up by 3 or 4. That is Lankster, the first to get to him. Wilkerson as well. We've got an update. Rams Redskins, JB.
Hey, Jim, it's a back-and-forth battle there.
Oh, yeah, and Sam Bradford, a little play-action pass. He takes his time back in the end zone. Matthew Mulligan putting the Rams up 31-28.
Bradford, 24-32, 289 yards, 3 touches and a pick. They're battling Jim Nantz and Phil Simms.
All right, so yeah, back and forth they go. And again, RG3, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, but he's run for 2 touchdowns, and that wild one. 3rd down here, 3rd and 33. Need to get all the way to the Jets' 40 for a first. Down the middle, Brown. He's still going to be about 8 yards shy. And that will close out the quarter. Got a good gainer there, but 24 yards not enough. 20-10 heading to the 4th. You're watching the NFL on CBS, home of Super Bowl 47. The Jets and Steelers go to the 4th quarter with Pittsburgh punting after a 3rd straight 3-and-out.
That was a big completion by Ben Roethlisberger. 25 yards, changes field position. Makes it tough for this Jets offense.
Yeah, a chance to pin the Jets here. Fair catch signal. And the Jets will have to commence at the 9 after the 38-yard boot.
Well, they withstood the fumble on the punt.
And another flag back at the line of scrimmage.
Well, with one thing, these officials are not afraid to throw the flag.
No, not today.
They are getting used to it. Probably the difference I've noticed is they just really take their time to make the decision and make the call as you watch around the league. But understanding that's the way to do it. Rex Ryan wants it added on coming out.
And holding, number 26 on the kicking team. New York is elected to add it on to the end of the run. 10 yards, first down.
Well, you look at this Jets offense, Jim, it's really had a tough time moving the football. The 3 completions in the last 2 hours and 8 minutes of real time. And this is where you got to look on your play sheet if you're Tony Sparano and find something that you haven't shown this defense today. Because there's 150 plays on those scripts that every team has. There's got to be something new to get one of the receivers free down the field and make it easy on Mark Sanchez.
Sean Green is back in. Picks up the blitz. Sanchez throws, and he's got Holmes. He's level, and a flag is thrown as he holds on to it at the 39. It was Ryan Clark who pounded him, and is probably going to be the recipient of the flag. Pass, I believe, may in fact have been incomplete. I thought for a moment he had it. Was incomplete. There is a flag. Ryan Clark, who came in and walloped him.
Defensive pass interference. Number 24 on the defense. Your first down at the spot of the foul.
They call it on Ike Taylor, 24.
Yeah, we were thinking maybe it's a personal foul on the outside.
Well, it can't be. 24 never even touched anybody. So it's got to be right here on Clark.
And that hit is legal too on Santonio Holmes. So I'm not sure what the penalty was. But the Jets got a big break. No interference, no personal foul.
They step off 19 yards at the point of the infraction. And Green ducks down and takes it's Powell for 3. And that call has incited the Steel City. The call was pass interference. Well, it's not pass interference.
Nothing that stops Santonio Holmes and that was a clean hit by Ryan Clark. So I did not see pass interference by either one of the guys.
2nd and 7. Here's Holmes. The ball's out incomplete. Taylor breaks it up.
Well, Ike Taylor's been given the challenge of covering Santonio Holmes today, and it is a lot of one-on-one coverage between the two. And look at Ike Taylor. He is talking and yelling at Santonio Holmes.
Holmes without a catch since the first quarter. 3rd and 7. Stepping up, look out from behind, and incomplete. Would not have been anything anyway that amounted to a first. As Cortez Allen jars it out of the hands of Curley.
Well, it's LeVar Woodley on the outside. It's 5 rushers. Mark Sanchez, good job of staying in there. Nowhere to run the football if he want to escape the pocket. And Curley's just running the zone route. So that's one guy you cannot throw it to in a situation like that.
A lot of hang time for this one. And it flies out of bounds. Crowd still angry about that call, but the Steelers have the football back and lead it 20-10. Some of the early highlights, the Patriots are given a chance. A late fumble, chance to win the game at 20-18. The field goal to win it was no good. Arizona shocks the Patriots. Eli over 500 yards. The Giants come back from double digits down. Michael Vick and the Eagles eke out another one. Back-to-back one-point victories. And Carolina drops the Saints to 0-2. The Manning 510 pass yards, career high, 3 yards shy of the Giants team record held by my booth mate, Mr. Sims. We're back here with 13:47 to go.
180.
Steelers have been stopped on their last 3 drives without collecting a first. That's Redmond. Wilkerson had him down low, and then the linebacking core and DeVito as well come over to hold them to 3.
Situations like this is where you need the Jet defense to get a 3 and out so they can give their offense good field position one more time.
Game of 3, 2nd down and 7 Steelers at their 28-yard line.
You know, LaRon Landry, that time, he is aggressive. He does have 2 fouls today, which has hurt the Jets. But that last play, he was up at the line of scrimmage from the deep safety position, trying to get in on the run game.
Again, the Jets last week gave up the most rushing yards of any team in the league. Today, they've surrendered only 30 rush yards to Pittsburgh. And that's Wilson stopping Wallace about a yard short of the first. Steers him out of bounds at the 34, gain of 6.
Yeah, I mean, that's threading the needle. It's not a long pass by Ben Roethlisberger, but Kyle Wilson all over Mike Wallace. But this is what you need. And just sits back, look at that. And it's a big play because it makes it 3rd and short for the Steelers offense. Boy, Ben Roethlisberger is, physically throwing the ball very well today.
3rd and 1. With Redmond the running back. Getting the carry. He's through the hole. And barrels ahead to the 45. Their first down in 11 minutes. Picks up 10.
Well, the left guard, Willie Colon, and Max Starks, the left tackle, they double team, and they just clear the way. Good job by Starks getting off the block and getting David Harris. Wow, good job there by Jeremiah Bell. Low man wins, but boy, that was a hard-fought victory for him, that's for sure.
He had to ride another 3 yards with Redmond as his best run of the day.
Good double team block, so Jim allowed this drive to continue.
Oh, what a stick. That is McIntyre coming up to meet Redmond. And that's a loss of 2. 4th time that Redmond's been knocked down behind the line of scrimmage.
Well, Garrett McIntyre coming in today and playing for Brian Thomas. Nobody blocks him, comes free, diagnoses it, and shows the speed that he has to make the tackle. Jets got a few more linebackers that are seeing action and making plays for him this year.
McIntyre in his 2nd year out of Fresno State. Came to the Jets as a free agent last year. 2nd and 12. And that's Miller. His 2nd grab of the game. First one went for a touchdown.
Complete to Miller.
A 3rd down on the way after that 8-yard play. For those of you expecting to see 60 minutes, you're watching the NFL on CBS. The Jets and the Steelers here in the 4th quarter. Jim Nantz along with Phil Simms. With the Steelers leading at 20-10. 60 minutes will be seen in its entirety immediately after the game, except on the West Coast, where it'll be seen at its normal time. Third and 4. Roethlisberger in trouble. Able to get away twice. Bell is able to deck the receiver after a 1-yard gain. It was on the back of Miller, and there is a flag. Well, somehow Roethlisberger got away.
Holding on the defense, number 37. 5-yard penalty, previous spot, automatic, first down.
Huge moment in this game. New set of downs, automatic. Jeremiah Bell, after Demario Davis and Quentin Coples could not get Roethlisberger down.
Yeah, how do you got 2 guys grabbing Ben Roethlisberger. They can't get him down, and Jeremiah Bell is there before the football arrives. We heard the Jets talk about it. When you play Roethlisberger, always keep your eyes on who you're covering because he escapes trouble so many times. That was a blitz by the Jets. The pressure was there. And for the 3rd time today, he escapes and makes a play.
And they pick up another first down on a 3rd down situation.
What is that?
Looking up top. Going to get away this time as McIntyre is making another play.
You know, this is what they hope for, the Jets. That's why they're playing a little more conservative on the defensive side. Let's cover them down the field and give our front 4 that extra second or beat to get to the quarterback, and that time McIntyre gets there. Look down the field, good job. Short. Rounds covered, but the big one down the field, that's where they wanted to go. Good job by Antonio Cromartie.
That's the 2nd sack of the game for McIntyre. And this one for a loss of 3. 2nd down and 13 to Sanchez Tebow. Wait for the Jets offense to get a chance again, and flags everywhere.
False start, snap encroachment on the center, number 53, 5-yard penalty, remains 2nd down.
It'll be 2nd and 18, and we remind you Wednesday in prime time, JB, Chris, and Phil will bring you their unique view of America's Sunday pastime. You won't find it any place else. Inside the NFL Wednesday on Showtime. So 2nd and 18, moving inside of 9 minutes.
Black 80! Black is us!
Again, able to escape to Redmond. Redmond all the way to the Jets 38. This time it was David Harris. Roethlisberger was able to somehow get away from.
Number 52, David Harris, comes free. And once again, they do a good job. They occupy the blockers up front, but not able to get Ben Roethlisberger down.
And Redmond becomes the 10th different Steeler to catch a ball in this game today. Again, the Jets defense without Revis. The Steelers today without Polamalu and Harrison. 3rd and 3. And another third down conversion.
Yeah, it is. It's a good job by Antonio Brown, hardest working player on this Steelers team. It's a legal, clean, hard hit by LaRon Landry, but it doesn't jar the football loose.
Yeah, boy, and Landry did all he could to knock that one out. But again, they moved the chains at the 30. The drive that has lasted over 6.5 minutes. Oh, he won't take a loss this time. Bell ends up with the football. But they're going to rule that Redmond was down near the 25.
When you see missed tackles, over pursuing, what the Jets are doing, it truly is a sign of fatigue. They got it, Redmond in the backfield. Where's the backside help? They're not there, and it allows him to get up the field and pick up some big yards.
With the right guard, Ramon Foster. Let's see what happens here with the football. Ooh, I'll tell you what. Would that be something you'd want to challenge?
Absolutely. And that has to come from the coach. That was not ruled a fumble on the field. If it was, they would automatically review it upstairs.
And there, it comes. He got the word from up top, and the flag is out.
Such a big play. Any hesitate, you've got to take a chance and challenge and hope that the play can be overturned.
Jeremiah Bell coming in and trying to wrestle it away, and he did. The question is, was Redmond down first?
New York is challenging the ruling on the field whether there was a fumble.
Here comes Bell. Is the knee or anything down? Who has possession of it?
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. Internet Explorer. Welcome to a more beautiful web. And by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Here we go.
A little fascinating twist to this challenge because everything can be reviewed. Here's what the Jets challenged. They said Bell stripped it and took possession of the football before Redmond was down, and he may in fact win that argument.
I thought the football was coming out and moving, and I thought Jeremiah Bell recovered it, but you said it, everything is reviewable. How about this in the backfield? McIntyre, does the knee, did it hit the ground? It's close. I think we think that it doesn't. That right knee, is that on the ground?
It is so close.
Well, it really is.
Looks like it may have scraped the top of the turf here. Of course, this isn't the one the Jets want to win. They want the football with 6:27 to go and down 10 points.
Oh, boy, that's a good shot. I think you're right there, Jim. That last shot is the one that finally convinced me. Maybe the knee hit.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands as called.
Wow.
New York will be charged a timeout, and they're also out of challenges. The second down.
Rex Ryan dumbfounded. He doesn't even get the consolation prize.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to think that the knee, there was pretty good visual evidence that it was going to be a tackle for a loss. Instead, after it's all said and done, no fumble, no strip away by Jeremiah Bell. It's a 6-yard gain.
Shoot, that's a over. I mean, for us, but I thought the football was moving. Jeremiah Bell had it moving before he hit the ground.
His drive now at 7.5 minutes.
What is that?
And a 2nd and 4. Redmond trying to go outside, but Wilson was waiting for him, holds him to 1.
Well, when you're down, Jim, you're down 2 scores, 20-10, and this is the time you can't. Probably the most important thing is here, Well, of course, you want to stop them. Don't let them get a first down because that will eat up so much time, would make it almost impossible for the Jets to score twice to win the game.
Another third down situation on this drive.
How do you play it? The blitz has not worked. You're not covering them well enough down the field. The quarterback's moving. They're going to blitz.
They've had 2 third-down conversions plus one by penalty. They've got another one right here as Miller makes the catch on the back shoulder throw right over the top of Jeremiah Bell.
That's a nice move by Heath Miller, but it's a perfect throw by Ben Roethlisberger. And this is what passing offenses do. They've done it so many times. This is just common for them. They do it every day in practice. They've done it hundreds of times in the heat of the moment. And right there, I'd say it was a pretty big moment. And it was a nice throw and catch.
Dwyer returns to the backfield. Falls down to the 9, running right over Kyle Wilson, and behind Heath Miller and Leonard Pope for another 4.
Stop by Wilson.
Well, good blocking up front once again. The shift late, oh, that just works against the Jets. They're going to the left, their left, the run is to their right, and it's a big hole for Jonathan Dwyer. This offensive line, they're going to be happy when this game's over if they end up winning because they ran the football with power, the Steelers did today.
2nd and 6. There's Wilson unable to make the tackle. Bell gets him down low, but he falls forward for another first and goal to go from the 2.
Well, Mike Tomlin said Jonathan Dwyer carries on the tradition of Steeler running backs. I think what he meant by that is that they are ready to go, but they're powerful. How about that? Once again, breaking a tackle, stiff arm outside against Jeremiah Bell, and picking up those extra yards. Man, when you have running backs that are physical, well, that just motivates offensive linemen to do their job up front and help them in the running game.
And timeout called by the Steelers with 3:41 to go.
What a drive.
The Steelers have just used their last timeout.
Well, he didn't like the play call. He's upset. But the smart thing is, use his head, lets the play clock go all the way down to 1 second before he calls the official timeout.
So 1st and goal, and Redmond. Second effort and in for the touchdown. That really defined that drive, didn't it? How many times did they break tackles, whether it was Roethlisberger or one of the backs? And it ends up with a touchdown.
Yeah, I think you said it right. It's the missed tackles or the broken tackles. Give credit to these runners. These are big, physical guys. And Isaac Redmond, his forte for this football team, short yardage and goal line, and now we understand why he's in there. He has carved out his own little part of this offense.
Extra point good. And the astonishing thing, that drive was over 10 minutes long. 10 minutes and 13 seconds. Longest for the Steelers since '07.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by NFL Mobile from Verizon, built to bring you the game. And by the all-new Dodge Dart. Dodge, new rules.
The terrible towels out in salute of that effort by the Steelers. Second longest drive under Tomlin's leadership. And again, their longest in 5 years to all but put away the Jets. And And I know of no one that's more satisfied with that touchdown run by Redmond than their running back coach, Kirby Wilson. Al McKnight to the back of the end zone, the very back. Takes it out to the 17. Coach Wilson, if you remember before the postseason last year, was a fire victim and very nearly lost his life. Burned over 45% of his body, and before the game he met with the nurses who helped save his life.
Hey, love you guys. Appreciate everybody here. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys, so God bless you. Thank you. Go Steelers, all right? Love you.
That was the week preparing for the Denver playoff game where there was a fire in the middle of the night at his home. And now he's back on the sideline and thanking those from the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center who were here today as his guest at this home opener. And Roethlisberger throws that one to the sidelines. Just a reminder, next week's another doubleheader week on CBS, and early Kansas City and New Orleans, both teams in desperate need of a win. Plus Cincinnati, Washington, the Jets, and Miami, and other regional action. And late, most of the country will see the Houston Texans taking on the Denver Broncos, all starting with the NFL today at noon Eastern. No Jet wide receiver with a catch since the first quarter. Sanchez, incomplete, going back to Holmes.
I think there's a couple of things when you look at this Jets offense that they're going to have to get fixed before they play next week or the rest of this season. They did not handle the pressure well on the wide receivers. In other words, the defensive backs for the Steelers got physical, and they have won this battle. And the other thing, when you get tight coverage, Jim, you need a big receiver. Stephen Hill comes to mind. He has to step up and win some of those battles just by using his height and his size to catch the football. That is not going to be Santonio Holmes. That's not his strong suit. He's a small, quick, fast guy.
Sanchez 7 out of 21 today, and more pressure, and almost intercepted. Down the middle of the field for Cumberland, again playing without Dustin Keller, who did not make the trip. Out with a hamstring.
Well, the pressure gets there quick. Look at the confusion they can cause. And once the quarterback moves in the pocket, the offensive linemen lose sight of where he is, so their guy gets free and pressures Mark Sanchez.
And Timmons got a hand on it. And there's Tebow, the punt protector, sliding over to a wing on the left side. Eric Smith on the right. And Brown started to lose his footing as Langster was there to greet him at the 38. Santonio Holmes had a touchdown earlier in this game. A little Super Bowl memory here. The touchdown catch for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Santonio Holmes to beat Arizona. This has been a frustrating second half for Santonio. As we lead to New Orleans, to the Big Easy.
Well, a couple things when you watch this game, or as it comes to a halt, the Steelers are going to be happy about their offensive line. Some of the things they did today, the Jets have to be disappointed, I think, with their defensive line. Hadn't created pressure or made enough tackles in the run game either.
As Dwyer, Roethlisberger about to improve his record for home openers to, again, all perfection. To be 6-0 in home openers, but more importantly, he wants to talk to you about graduating in the offseason. He had been chipping away, taking classes to get his degree, and he did just that. He even went through commencement. Miami University School of Education, Health and Society. He got his education degree. He had to take one last class on Tibet to get his degree. As Dwyer tackled after a short gain, and kind of even make the story a little sweeter for Ben is the day that he told his parents, because he'd always promised them he'd go back and get his degree.
He left school early.
He said, I have one other bit of news. We're going to be having our first baby in the fall.
Pretty good day.
He and his wife expecting here later in the season. 2-minute warning, 27-10 Steelers. 27-10 with 2 minutes to go. And a 3rd and 3 on the way for the Steelers, who came in here at 0-1, having lost to Denver, and you know so well how crucial these week 2 games can be when you're coming in off of a loss. Jets will get the football back as Batch is stopped short.
Well, I think this explains it all. You talk about 0-1 coming home.
This was after the Redmond touchdown.
You know, it's a lot of things. It's winning the game, but I think it's in the style that they won. Don't you agree? That excites him because, wow, he saw something in his football team that, of course, he liked.
And again, he did it without 2 players who have won the NFL Defensive Player of the Year award. Of course, the Jets without Revis, who should have won 1 or 2 of those himself.
No doubt.
One year particularly, he somehow did not get the vote. But we talked so much about that being the big story going into the game. Polamalu and Harrison out, Revis out. How did all of those absences affect their teams?
Well, it just they overcame, and it's, you know, you can only feel it, Jim, by being 0-1, losing the way you did to Denver, coming home, playing a Jets team that you watch on film and you go, oh man, they're a lot better than we thought they were going to be. So it puts you on edge, and a team that's on edge, that's got talent like the Steelers, they're dangerous, and they showed it here today.
Sanchez has missed on his last 7 throws. Now he has a completion. That was the longest incompletion streak of his career. He's got 11 going to the tight end. Still looking for a wide receiver. Hasn't found one since the first quarter.
Well, they're going to find some ways to help these receivers out. You do it with motion, stacking them. There's a lot of ways to get them involved and get them the football.
And wide of the mark with Powell. Tonight on CBS begins with 60 Minutes. Followed by an all-new Big Brother, The Good Wife, and The Mentalist here on America's #1 network, CBS.
You know, I talked about the jet wide receivers. I'm talking about in the future, of course, not now. And I think it was a good lesson. If you're sitting over there, you watch the Steelers. Look how they got everybody involved in the game so fast, all the running backs and the wide receivers.
On 2nd down, and incomplete. Bounce off the hands of Holmes, and now flag comes in. He had his arms taken away. Keenan Lewis in on the coverage.
Defensive pass interference, number 23, automatic first down at the spot of foul.
Called on Lewis.
Here we are late in the game. There's no give up in these Steeler defensive backs. They're still hand fighting and playing bump and run coverage down the field. 27-10, you expect them to give up some easy throws. They're not going to do it.
Sanchez. And another flag thrown in here as Curley has the catch. So a wide receiver able to hold on to one here, plus a flag. The Jets next week will be traveling down to Miami as the Dolphins demolished Oakland today. Those Raiders will be hosting Pittsburgh.
On the defense, that penalty's declined. The play resulted in a first down.
The Raiders at 0-2 will be playing host to the Steelers next week.
I guess the Steelers, they don't want to give up the points, and they want to practice maybe what they want to do more of, and that is just challenge the offense they're playing against.
Downfield, incomplete.
Sanchez pass intended for Cumberland, incomplete. Simmons with coverage.
There's the Steelers schedule through 2 weeks. They'll find themselves at 1-1 along with Baltimore and Cincinnati. Cleveland at 0-2 in that division.
You know, the other thing, Jim, I think we're going to have to hold off that talk of the Steelers getting old and slow one more week again.
Yeah, defense looks pretty good, doesn't it?
Every time they lose a game, and look, I'm not against it. I say, oh boy, maybe this guy's not quite the same, because every year is different.
Yep.
And I've heard it from many coaches. You show up every year in training camp, show me one more time, you got it.
Looks pretty fast and physical to me, out of bounds. By the way, as you look at the Jets schedule, all 4 teams in the AFC East now through 2 weeks are at 1-1. And they'll be at Miami next week.
Wow, San Francisco, Houston afterwards. So that Miami game stares at you and you go, boy, we need to get that one, because the next 2 after are as tough as they come in the NFL.
St. Louis, by the way, has just defeated the Washington Redskins. Jeff Fisher getting his first win on the sideline for the Rams. Seconds to go. Sanchez is thrown down by Cam Hayward to close out the game. The Jets score a touchdown on their first possession of the day and never find the end zone again. 27-10 Steelers is your final. Coming up next, 60 Minutes, followed by a new Big Brother, The Good Wife, and The Mentalist. For Phil Simms and all the crew, Jim Nantz saying so long from Pittsburgh. You've been watching the NFL on CBS, home of Super Bowl